4. Insurance to protect savings. Almost everyone strives to earn a living, to have sufficient income to look after their family, and to have a little left over for recreation. An equally important part of the process is to be able to put some funds aside for savings, both a rainy day, emergency fund for the present in the event of illness, unemployment, or unexpected expenses, and a retirement fund for the long term. Unfortunately, sometimes unexpected expenses can come along to drain savings. Some expenses are difficult to avoid, like vehicle repairs and home maintenance, and cannot be fully protected against. Many health care expenses, prescription drugs, dental care, emergency care, etc., whether predictable or not, can significantly drain cash flow and savings, leaving one without an adequate emergency fund and impairing the ability to save adequately for retirement. Fortunately, there are many avenues available for persons to acquire extended health insurance. To at least partially, or fully, fund these expenses and relieve individuals of their financial stress. 4.1 Types of extended health coverage to protect savings. In this chapter, the most common sources of extended health insurance coverage are explored, and compared and contrasted. Black small square individual extended health insurance, including travel insurance. Black small square group extended health insurance. Banks and other financial institutions, credit unions, trust companies, caisses populaires, also may offer a form of extended health coverage to their credit customers, but this coverage is usually quite limited and is not sufficiently widespread to be addressed here. 4.1.1 Individual extended health insurance. An individual extended health insurance policy is purchased directly from a representative of the issuing insurance company. The plan is owned by, paid for by, and usually payable to the applicant. The terms of the plan can be customized to the needs of the applicant, who can terminate the contract at any time. Individual plans are used to top up the protection provided by the provincial health care plans by those who are not members of a group plan, or to enhance coverage provided by a group plan for those who are members of such a plan. 4.1.2 Group extended health coverage. By far the greatest number of people covered by extended health insurance, other than through provincial health care, receives coverage via a group plan, typically provided by their employer. Group plans usually offer a package of benefits along with some options, such as family coverage. Group plans cover several individuals with a common factor, such as employment or occupation. They are offered by employers to their employees, and by associations whose members are not employed by the same employer, but who have some other element of commonality. 4.2 Types of individual extended health coverage. Individual extended health coverage options generally parallel those available with group plans. Black small square medical care. Black small square dental care. Black small square travel insurance. All of these coverages may be combined in one contract, as with a group plan, or policies may be acquired that offer only one or more coverages, as meets the needs of the individual client. One of the advantages of an individual contract as contrasted with group coverage, which is a package deal of preset benefits and limits, is that the insured can pick and choose what types and levels of coverage to include in the contract. Similar to selecting a deductible under an automobile policy, the prospective insured may have a range of deductible and coinsurance levels and annual maximums to choose from to suit his needs and budget. Individual extended health policies are subject to full medical underwriting prior to issue, except for travel insurance, for which underwriting generally occurs at time of claim. 4.2.1 Medical care. Most residents of Canada are covered by provincial health care plans. For those few newly arrived who are not yet covered, due to a waiting period, individual medical insurance provides protection against the costs of regular or emergency medical care, whether in a hospital or in the doctor's office. For other Canadian residents, an individual insurance policy will fill in the gaps between their needs and the coverage provided under the provincial plans, chiropractic services, for example. Even those individuals who are members of group plans may want to top up or otherwise augment their provincial and group coverages with a customized individual policy. 4.2.1.1 Coverage provided. The types of coverage available under individual medical care plans cover most of the medical and related services required by insureds. Black small square extended health care, for hospital or home care medical services not covered under provincial plans. Black small square prescription drugs. Black small square accidental death and dismemberment, AD&D. Black small square dental care. Black small square vision care. Black small square emergency travel medical services. As mentioned earlier, the applicant for individual extended health insurance can choose what types and levels of coverage to include in the contract. He may have a range of coverage, deductible, and co-insurance levels and annual maximums to choose from to suit his needs and budget. Within contractual restrictions, the policy can be as limited or broad as he wishes. For .2.1.2 deductibles and co-insurance. The insurance company's exposure to claims can, in part, be managed through the imposition of deductibles and a co-insurance factor, provisions that require the insured to pay at least a portion of the qualifying medical expenses himself. While co-insurance factors are common to both individual and group policies, deductibles are much rarer in individual contracts. A deductible is a dollar amount of otherwise qualifying expenses that must be paid 100% by the insured before the plan picks up any of the expense. Deductibles are applied annually and start anew each year. Example: Consuela has purchased an individual extended health policy that has an 80% co-insurance factor for dental claims. The plan pays for 80% of each claim, and Consuela assumes responsibility for the other 20%. 20%. Deductibles and co-insurance factors help to reduce premiums, first by shifting some of the burden for qualifying expenses from the insurance company to the insured. Secondly, the fact that the insured will be responsible for at least part of the cost of covered products or services tends to discourage undiscerning use of products and services by the insured and, therefore, unnecessary claims. 4.2.2 Dental care. Because most of the provincial health care plans do not offer coverage for dental fees and appliances, dental care is often a mainstay of any extended health insurance plan. For .2.2.1 coverage provided, benefits provided under an individual dental plan fall into one of two categories: routine maintenance and major restorative services. Routine maintenance includes such items as black small square regular checkups, black small square periodic x-rays, black small square cleaning, black small square fillings, black small square extractions. Regular maintenance items are covered to an annual maximum amount, perhaps $1,000, and are subject to the policy's basic coinsurance factor, with the insured usually having to pay in the 20% to 25% range. Major restorative services include such things as crowns and inlays, and are usually subject to a much higher coinsurance factor, generally 50%. The amount that insurance will cover is based on a fee schedule set by the provincial dental associations and revised periodically. Amounts of fees in excess of the schedule are not covered. For extensive dental care, often in the range of $500 or more, most insurers will require that the insured have the dentist submit an estimate in advance for a predetermination of coverage, so that he knows how much of the cost will be covered. Accident and Sickness Insurance Chapter 4 Insurance to Protect Savings 85. For .2.2.2 Deductibles and Co-insurance. Deductibles and co-insurance factors for dental coverage are similar to those outlined above, and are used to manage premiums for individual extended health coverage in general. However, dental coverage is the area in which deductibles and co-insurance are most prevalent. At least some of the cost, or in many cases, all of the cost, for medical services, like doctor's office visits and hospital stays in a ward room, are covered by the provincial healthcare plans. Therefore, the insurer's exposure to healthcare expenses is limited to such items as a hospital stay in a semi-private room, or medical appliances, like wheelchairs and crutches. Most provincial plans offer little or no coverage for dental services, leaving the full responsibility for cost to the individual and his insurance company. 4.2.3 Travel Insurance. The term travel insurance is an umbrella name for a wide variety of coverages for those who travel outside of their home province. Plans may offer some or all of the following protections. Black small square emergency medical expenses. Black small square costs for lost or damaged luggage. Black small square trip cancellation. Black small square return of an ill or injured traveler to his home, etc. Provincial health care benefits differ from province to province, so an expense covered in one jurisdiction might not be covered in another. Consequently, the individual insured may have to cover expenses out of pocket, and then seek reimbursement, over and above the provincial coverage, from the insurer. With the cost of hospitalization being generally higher abroad than it is in Canada, the need for travel insurance to offset the risk of catastrophic medical expenses for travelers outside the country is critical. In the past, travel insurance was obtained primarily directly from insurers or from travel agents. Over the last decades, the availability of travel insurance has grown to the point where coverage is available from a wide variety of sources, including financial institutions, airlines, and online providers. In some jurisdictions, an insurance license is not required to sell this type of product. For all types of issuers, medical underwriting of the coverage is generally done retroactively, at time of claim, not when the policy is issued. Although availability may be broad-based, this does not mean that all travelers are adequately covered. It is important for the insurance agent to consider his client's travel insurance needs and determine whether or not the coverage they could have purchased from other providers is appropriate. For .2.3.1 coverage provided by an insurer. The most comprehensive travel insurance coverage can be obtained by purchasing a customized contract directly from an insurer or its representative. Coverages available include, among others, black small square doctors and nurses' fees, black small square hospitalization costs, black small square medical equipment, black small square ambulance services, black small square dental costs for accidental injury, black small square return of the injured traveler to his province of residence, black small square return of a deceased traveler's remains to his province of residence, black small square return of the insured's vehicle to his province of residence, black small square lost baggage insurance, black small square trip interruption or cancellation due to illness. In addition, it is normal for the insurer to issue the insured with a card with the name and number of a provider that can be contacted in the event of an emergency. The contact can provide the insured with such assistance as the names and addresses of medical professionals or directions to the nearest hospital, or can order an ambulance to assist in an emergency situation. For .2.3.2 coverage provided through a credit card. Many credit cards offer travel insurance protection, either as standard coverage automatically provided with the issuance of the card or as an option. However, the coverage provided is often more limited than the one that can be obtained directly from an insurer, and may vary greatly depending on the issuer and the type of card. Most importantly, credit card travel insurance is issued automatically, without any form of medical evidence being required. At time of claim, the issuing insurer's underwriting department seeks to determine whether the cause of the claim is covered under the terms of the coverage. Of particular concern to the insurer is whether the claim can be attributed to a pre-existing condition in place for anywhere up to 6 months prior to the date of departure on the trip, in which case the claim may be voided. This leaves the insured with an element of uncertainty about whether a claim might be honored versus policies that are subject to even basic underwriting, so that the issue of pre-existing conditions might be resolved upfront. For .2.3.3 pre-existing conditions. Since the coverage is typically issued with little or no medical underwriting upfront, underwriting takes place at claim time. In many cases, a common reason for the denial of a claim is that the expense incurred was the result of a pre-existing condition. Generally, a pre-existing condition is considered to arise if, during a period of anywhere from 90 to 180 days, depending on the contract, prior to departure on the insured's trip, the insured black small square saw a doctor for specific symptoms requiring treatment. Black small square underwent tests, or additional tests were recommended by a doctor. Black small square had treatment for the condition. Black small square was prescribed medical tests or treatment, or had a prescription changed prior to the trip for which the coverage was required. In extreme circumstances, even failing to disclose that the prospective insured is taking a daily baby aspirin as a preventative measure against stroke or heart attack could be viewed as non-disclosure of a pre-existing condition medication, leading to denial of a claim, even one unrelated to stroke or heart attack. Conditions that were diagnosed prior to the 90 or 180-day period, but which are chronic, like diabetes, may also result in restricted coverage if the individual is not under the care of a physician and symptom-free for up to 1 year prior to departure on a trip. For example, an insured might be required to be able to demonstrate that he has been symptom-free of diabetes for a minimum of 1 year to qualify for full coverage. The existence of a pre-existing condition will not void all coverage, but a claim may be denied if treatment is required specifically related to the pre-existing condition. For .2.3. For benefits. The payment of benefits is often provided on a reimbursement basis. The insured is often expected to pay for the services received up front and then submit the claim to the insurance company, allowing for any portion of the claim to be covered by a provincial health insurance plan. The insured is expected to contact the insurer's representative immediately upon admittance to hospital and prior to undergoing surgery, in any event. Failure to contact the insurer promptly could result in a reduction of benefits or denial of claim. Contractual exclusions are particularly important in travel insurance policies. Most policies include those exclusions that are common to almost all insurance contracts. There would be no coverage for emergencies stemming from black small square attempted suicide, black small square self-inflicted injuries, black small square act of war, black small square normal pregnancy, black small square drug or alcohol abuse. In addition, certain exclusions are specific to travel insurance and are not common to other types of insurance, black small square engaging in hazardous activities, such as hang gliding, parasailing or scuba diving, black small square traveling to countries on a watch list, black small square medical treatment in non-emergency situations. For .2.3.5 factors affecting premiums. The two most important factors impacting travel insurance premiums are the amount of coverage and the number of days that the traveler expects to spend outside his province of residence. The greater the amount of coverage and the more risks that the policy covers, the bigger the premium. For example, a policy that includes trip cancellation insurance will cost more than a policy that doesn't. The longer the trip, the higher the premium cost. However, the premium will not necessarily be proportionately higher. For example, a 30-day policy will not cost 3 times as much as a 10-day policy, because there is a basic processing fee attached to any policy, regardless of the length of the trip. The traveler's proposed destination can also have a significant impact on the premium. Black small square someone traveling to another province in Canada, where provincial coverages are similar but not necessarily identical, and costs are low in comparison to other jurisdictions, like the United States, is going to pay a relatively low premium. Black small square someone traveling outside of Canada, particularly to the United States, where hospitalization costs can run much higher than those of Canada, will be required to pay a much higher premium. Black small square some destinations, particularly in the Middle East and Latin America, are considered high risk and command more expensive insurance premiums as a consequence. Black small square other destinations may be so high risk that insurers will not issue coverage. Lastly, the age and medical history of the traveler can have a major impact on premiums. Older individuals, particularly those over age 65, are more susceptible to injury and illness and so pay a much higher insurance premium than younger ones. 4.2. For taxation of individual extended health insurance premiums and benefits. Premiums paid for individual extended health coverage are not deductible for income tax purposes, but may qualify for the federal medical expense tax credit. Benefits are received tax-free. 4.3. Group extended health coverage. Group extended health insurance is structured to cover a broad range of medical services and products not covered, or not fully covered, by the provincial healthcare plans. It offers coverage to group members and their families without medical underwriting for basic coverage. Its benefits are usually subject to deductibles and co-insurance clauses. 4.3.1 Types of coverage. The following types of coverage are almost universal to group plans, to some degree or another: black small square prescription drugs, black small square enhanced medical and hospital care, black small square dental care, black small square vision care, black small square accidental death and dismemberment, AD&D. 4.3.1.1 Prescription drugs. Every group insurance plan that offers health care benefits will include a prescription drug plan. Every day, hundreds of thousands of people across the country avail themselves of pharmaceuticals, drugs, to treat an almost endless variety of illnesses and conditions. First and foremost, these drugs are divided into two broad categories: prescription and non-prescription, or over-the-counter drugs. Prescription drugs cannot be acquired legally without a prescription from a medical professional, such as a medical doctor or dentist, and must be obtained from a pharmacist. Over-the-counter drugs, such as aspirin, may be obtained at virtually any drug store, grocery store, variety store, etc., without a prescription, simply by taking the drug in question to the checkout counter. It is only the cost of prescription drugs that is covered by group health insurance plans. Covered prescription drugs are further subdivided into two categories: brand name and generic. A brand name drug is manufactured by the pharmaceutical corporation that researched and developed it. The company's investment, which can run into hundreds of millions of dollars, is protected by a patent. Once the patent runs out, other manufacturers will be free to make and sell their own version of the same drug, the generic version, with similar properties to the brand name version. However, because the manufacturers of generic drugs are not burdened with massive research and development costs, the generic drugs typically sell at a much lower price than their brand name counterparts. Each insurance company will have a formulary, a list, of the drugs that are covered by the group plan, the types of drugs covered within that list, brand name or generic, and the price that the insurer will pay for a covered drug. If the plan member insists on receiving the brand name rather than the generic drug, the member will usually be covered or reimbursed only for the cost of the generic drug, having to pay the difference between the two himself. 4.3.1.2 Enhanced medical and hospital care. Although all provinces and territories offer their residents health care, the services and products provided by these plans are not wholly comprehensive. The enhanced medical, also called enhanced health care, benefit offered under group plans is designed to top up or otherwise supplement benefits offered through the provincial plan. The enhanced medical benefit covers professional and semi-professional medical and related services not insured by the provincial health care plans. This might include the services of the following practitioners, among others: black small square chiropractors, black small square massage therapists, black small square naturopaths, black small square optometrists. The benefit often covers other medical expenses like transportation by ambulance, and such medical equipment as crutches, wheelchair rental and oxygen equipment to a maximum annual limit. The hospitalization coverage is generally structured to provide for an upgrade in accommodations, where available, up to a maximum daily dollar amount and for a maximum number of days. 4.3.1.3 Dental care. Dental care is, for most group insurance plans, the most significant and the most costly element. Generally speaking, provincial health care does not cover dental expenses, excepting emergency medical dental care in the event of an accident. This leaves the entirety of dental expenses to be covered by the individual or his insurance company. And those expenses can easily run into hundreds or thousands of dollars a year. Four main reasons help explain why those costs are magnified for group dental coverage. Black small square costs of dental care are high. Black small square group dental coverage often includes the family of the group plan member. Black small square access to dental care is discretionary, not merely on an emergency basis, and does not need a referral from a physician. Black small square premiums for the coverage, or at least the plan member's personal coverage, are usually covered by the sponsor of the plan, employer if any. The way to control costs is to incorporate deductible and co-insurance charges, and annual and lifetime maximums on some services. Dental care typically covers annual or semi-annual teeth cleanings, periodic checkups, x-rays, fillings, extractions and restorative work. Orthodontic work may be covered but if so, will be subject to maximum limits, and will typically require a submission of proposed procedures and costs by the dentist or orthodontist, to predetermine how much, if any, of the proposed work will be covered by the group plan. Purely cosmetic dental work, caps, teeth straightening or whitening, is typically excluded from coverage. 4.3.1. For vision care. Vision care coverage is another standard feature for most group health plans. This benefit provides a reimbursement supplement for a variety of expenses incurred to assist with visual impairment. Black small square prescription eyeglasses. Black small square contact lenses. Black small square optometrist fees, where not covered by provincial health plans. Eyeglasses, both lenses and frames, and contact lenses are covered if prescribed by an optometrist. The maximum benefit is usually in the $100 to $350 range every 24 months, provided the glasses are either a first pair or are recommended by the optometrist owing to a change of prescription. Not all plans will also cover optometrists' fees. If they are covered, a maximum dollar amount will be applied every 24 months. 4.3.1.5 Accidental death and dismemberment, AD&D. Accidental death and dismemberment, AD&D, coverage is common to most group insurance and individual extended health insurance plans. It pays a benefit if the plan member dies, loses or permanently loses the use of a limb, hearing or eyesight as the consequence of an accidental occurrence, as contrasted with illness or a medical condition, such as diabetes. In the case of accidental death, a fixed amount, known as the principal sum, is payable to the plan member's named beneficiary. For loss of a limb, sight, etc., a lesser amount, a percentage of the principal sum, is payable, depending upon the severity of the loss. For example, the loss of 2 limbs would result in a greater benefit than the loss of 1 limb. Table 4.1 is a sample schedule of the level of benefits payable under an AD&D policy for a few types of loss. Table 4.1, Sample accidental death and dismemberment schedule of loss. For 4.3.2 Benefits. Benefits under group extended health care coverage may not cover all possible expenses, nor may they be immediately payable to the plan member. There are, of course, expenses that may not be covered by a given plan. And many benefits, vision care and dental, for example, are subject to annual maximums as well as copayments. For example, benefits may provide for 12 professional visits per year, at a maximum of $100 a visit, or simply a maximum benefit of $1,200 in total, regardless of the number of visits. Typically, an extended health group plan will provide benefits on either a reimbursement or a direct billing, see below, basis, but some plans may provide some benefits, like prescription drugs, using direct billing, and others, like dental care, strictly on a reimbursement basis. 4.3.2.1 Deductibles and coinsurance. Most plans require an element of copayment on the part of the plan member to keep the group plan costs, and by extension, the premiums payable by an employer, under control. The two types of copayment by plan members are annual deductibles and coinsurance factors. Once the annual deductible has been absorbed by the plan member, additional expenses will qualify for payment or reimbursement by the plan. Example: John and Marcia are a married couple with one child, Colton. John is a member of a group extended health insurance plan that covers his whole family. For dental claims, the plan has a $100 individual deductible and a family deductible of $250. In February of the current year, John filed a dental claim for $80. He received no reimbursement, but his individual deductible was reduced from $100 to $20, and the family deductible was reduced from $250 to $170. In March, Marcia filed a dental claim for $120. Her individual deductible was reduced to $0, and the remaining family deductible was reduced from $170 to $70. $20 of the claim qualified for reimbursement. In May, John filed another dental claim for $100. His remaining individual deductible was reduced from $20 to $0, and the remaining family deductible was reduced from $70 to $50. $80 of the claim qualified for reimbursement. In July, a claim was filed for $70 of dental expenses for Colton. With a family deductible of $50 at that time, $20 of the claim for Colton qualified for reimbursement. The family deductible is now reduced to $0. In September, an additional claim for $130 of dental expenses was filed for Colton. The entire $130 qualified for reimbursement because the family deductible had already been reduced to $0. In addition to the deductible, which applies annually and starts anew every year based on the anniversary of the date of initiation of the group contract, some benefit claims are also subject to the coinsurance factor, which applies against every claim once the deductible has been eliminated. Coinsurance factors are most commonly found in relation to dental benefits, but may apply to other benefits as well, depending on the plan. In the case of claims filed early in the year, or where few claims are filed by a plan member, both a deductible and a coinsurance factor could apply. 4.3.2.2 Reimbursement. For a plan operating on a reimbursement basis, the plan member must pay for the covered product or service up front and then file a claim, with accompanying receipts, with the administrator of the plan. The administrator will then pay the member, by check or direct deposit to his bank account, for that portion of the claim covered by the plan. Accident and Sickness Insurance Chapter 4 Insurance to Protect Savings 96. 4.3.2.3 Direct Billing. In the case of group plans that pay for products or services, such as prescription drugs or dental care, on a direct billing basis, the plan member is given a membership card, or the plan is registered with his pharmacist, dentist, etc., and covered expenses are billed directly to the group plan. The only portion of expenses that the member has to pay up front would be for those not covered by the plan or costs in excess of the plan limits, example, the difference between the cost of brand name and generic drugs, if the patient insisted upon receiving the brand name product, or the excess over what the plan covers where the dental or pharmacy plan has coverage limits. 4.3.3 Taxation of Group Extended Health Insurance Premiums and Benefits. Under employer-sponsored group plans, it is normal for the employer to pay 100% of the premiums for the employee coverage, although premiums for family coverage may have to be assumed by the employee/group plan member. In most provinces and territories across Canada, employer-paid premiums for group health care coverage are a deductible expense to the employer, but are not considered a taxable benefit in the hands of the covered plan member. Benefits received under the group plan are also tax-free to the plan member and his family. The exception is found in the province of Quebec, where employer-paid premiums for group health care coverage are a deductible expense to the employer, but are also treated as a taxable benefit to the covered plan member for the calendar year in which they are paid. Benefits received under the group plan are tax-free to the plan member and his family. 4.3.3.1 Premiums and the Medical Expense Tax Credit. In the case of most group benefit plans, group health premiums are paid 100% by the sponsoring employer. However, in non-employer group situations, example, association groups, where the extended health coverage premiums are paid by the group member, the premiums are not deductible by the member, but are a qualifying expense for the medical expense tax credit. 4.3. Integrating an individual policy with a group policy. It was noted above that persons who do not have access to group insurance extended health benefits often access individual coverage in order to supplement the benefits provided by the provincial health care plans. However, those who already have group coverage may also consider acquiring an individual contract to top up their group coverage or fill in coverage gaps that might arise due to coverage limits, coinsurance limits, or simply because the coverage is not provided under the group plan. 4. Comparing individual and group policies. Table 4.2 highlights some of the characteristics of individual and group extended health coverage, comparing one type of plan to the others under various categories. Chapter 5, Insurance to Protect Businesses. Competency components. Black small square analyze the available products that meet the client's needs. Black small square implement a recommendation adapted to the client's needs and situation. Competency subcomponents. Black small square analyze the types of contracts that meet the client's needs. Black small square propose a recommendation adapted to the client's needs and situation. Accident and sickness insurance. Chapter 5, Insurance to Protect Businesses. 100.